Thank you, presiding member. I'm happy to be associated with the debate that is taking place on many facets. And let me give an initial start on the areas of what has been placed here is the impact that is there on free trade agreements. I'm extremely happy that the government has realized the importance of market access and the concomitant that is there for the persuasion of free trade agreements. And as a result, the Singapore Free Trade Agreement that took place a couple of years ago has been ratified and things are going forward. Today's reduction in the areas of tariff liberalization, whether it is from para-tariffs or whether it is customs import duty or whether para-tariffs going to cess or PEL, it is the requirement to go forward with the pure intention of opening up market access from both sides. Now, presiding member, the most important access that is there is Sri Lanka is a 22 million population, which market access is the citizens or the consumer demand is insufficient to be competitive. So as a result, if you are able to go into markets that give you a new market that is there, our competitive edge in manufacturing a unit price will be far lower than marketing and manufacturing only for the Sri Lankan market. So the opening of the Singapore Free Trade Agreement, like what has happened in Singapore, in India, in Pakistan, and things like that, I hope that this is the way forward for Sri Lankan manufacturers to be more competitive and take our product to the world market. Now, while doing that, we must also look at the negotiating while we give in to the other parties that have come forward with the para-tariffs being taken off. We must also have our market access there without any non-tariff barriers that come in. Now, one of the biggest problems that we have is that we go into other markets and our export competitiveness can be there, but they bring in non-tariff barriers which preclude us from going into that market. So these are things that the government bureaucrats and the politicians or who are heading as ministers must be able to take this forward. And now let's look at Japan, China, European Union, ASEAN, the BRICS Association, Thailand which is there, because my belief that this is the only way that we can basically give that competitive edge to our manufacturers which are excellent, world class. Now when we are looking at that particular one, we must also look at the most important aspect. Our competitive edge needs to be there. Now today we are fighting against one of the biggest problems that are there. That is the port clearances. The මේ කතා කරන මොහොතේ අපි කතා කරන්නේ containers 2800ක් විතර හිර වෙලා තියෙන අවස්ථාවක්. මේ 2800ක් හිර වෙලා තියෙන අවස්ථාවක නැව් මේ රටෙන් 35ක් ඇවිල්ලා ආයි කොළඹ වරායට එන්න බැරි තත්ත්වයක් ඇති වෙලා තිබෙනවා. ඒක තුලින් අපේ අපනයන හිර වෙනවා. මොකද අප රට සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ආනයනය කොට මේ රටේ නිල අගයක් එකතු කරලා අප නැවත අපනයන කිරීමේ ස්වරූපයට තමයි සූදානම් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් යම් විදියකින් අපිට මේ ක්ෂේත්‍රය ඇතුළට ගේන්න බැරි නම් අපේ අමුද්‍රව්‍ය ටික එතකොට වෙන්නේ අපට අපනයන කිරීමේ හැකියාව අමාරු තත්ත්වයක් ඇති වෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ නිසා මේ අවස්ථාවේදී කන්ටේනර් 2800ක් හිර වෙලා තියෙනවා කියන කතාව මං හිතන්නේ අද හැමදෙනාම දන්න දෙයක්. ඒක තුල මේ රටේ ලොරි 10-12000ක් විතර තියෙනවා මේ බිස්නස් එකට. ඒකෙන් අද 2200ක් 2300ක් මේ බාලුම් මේක උඩ තියාගෙන හිර වෙලා තියෙනවා දවස් 6 7 8 9ක්. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ශනික තීන්දුවක් ගත යුතුයි. මේකේ ආණ්ඩුව මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ප්‍රතිපත්ති තීන්දුවක් ගන්න අවශ්‍යයි. මොකද මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් මගේ මතේ මේක පැය 24ක් කළ යුතුයි. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම පැය 24 කිරීම තුළ මේකේ අපේ කම්පිටිටිව්නස් එක හරි තරංකාරී තත්වයක් ඇති වෙනවා. ඒ විතරක් නෙමෙයි අද අපේ අපනයනකරුවන්ට හරි අපේ නිෂ්පාදිකයන්ට තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි අප මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් පුළුවන් තරම් ඉක්මනට අමුද්‍රව්‍ය ගෙනල්ලා නිලාගයක් එකතු කරලා නැවත අපනයනය කිරීම. නමුත් මේ ස්වරූපය සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නැති වෙලා තිබෙනවා. දැන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ආනයනය කරනකොට දවස් 10යි මේක නැවත අපනයනය කරනකොට දවස් 10යි සාමාන්‍ය ඕඩරයක් එන්නේ මාසෙකින් මේව කළා පිටරට එවන්න අවශ්‍යයි කියන එක. ඉතින් ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් මම තමත් ඕනකමින් මේ අවස්ථාවේදී කියනමුකෝ මෙතන මම හිතන්නේ කස්ටම් නිලධාරීන් තුලින් එතන හොඳ කට්ටිය වගේක් කටයුතු කරගෙන යනවා. අරුගොඩ මං හිතන්නේ ප්‍රකාශ කළා තියෙනවා the Sri Lanka standards. ගිය සුමානේ ජනාධිපති කිව්වහම මේක පැය 24ක් වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. The government institute Sri Lanka standards had not attended for 7 days, Minister. So I guess these are matters that needs to be taken, because you can't have a willful destruction by any government institution that is there. This has been referred, citing as example, Aruggoda noted that during recent 4-day-long weekend, Sri Lanka Standards Institute announced that they would not report to work due to unavoidable reasons, further slowing down the operation. So these are willful, destructive actions that have been taken, which are detrimental to our operation of import and export or entrepot trading. Now, not only that, we also must realize the fact that we have got to export ourselves out of the debt crisis. මේ රටේ ණයබරතාවය අපි අපනයන කිරීම තුලින්මයි එවන්න තියෙන්නේ. අපි මේ ණය අරන් ණය ගෙවන්න කියලා කියන තත්ත්වය ඇති කරන්න බෑ. අප මේ රටේ පුළුවන් ඕන දෙයක් අපනයන කරලා ඒක තුලින් අපේ ණය ගෙවීමේ හැකියාවේ ආදම හොයගන්න පුළුවන් නම් මෙන්න මේක තමයි අත්‍යවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා my considered opinion is that we must ensure that 24/7 is the way that we have got to ensure the port must be working. Customs work 24 hours and the entire ports authority is geared to work 24 hours. So ensure that we have the Asikuda system on a single window system that is functional, and then we ensure that we go forward. Another thing that can be adopted, presiding member, is that we can ensure pre-clearance. Before the shipment comes, I mean, Minister, you're quite well aware of the industrial situation and being in the manufacturing field. When you leave, when a container leaves the port of origin, that they can ensure that he is ready for pre-clearance and ensure the pre-clearance permits you as soon as it comes to be cleared and ensure that we go forward. And then we can have a post-audit that goes on. Now, there was a reference that was made for pre-clearance post-audit, but this has been looked at with squint eye. Ensure that we look at it, because today consumers are paying demurrage, and that is in the range of 200,000-300,000 a container. Sometimes the 200,000-300,000 rupees a container is the profit margin of that company. So in a time when it's difficult, when we have gone through some very difficult times, when the country has forced into a bankruptcy, you are coming out of it. We must ensure that we make life easier for the manufacturers. Yeah, so that we can basically look at ensuring that we go forward with this type of thing. So competitiveness, the demurrage that can be eradicated, all this, the government must take a view. And end of the day, you must not allow everything that is there, sometimes for the government servants to be taking that decision. Political leadership needs to come, and this is the time that you have got to take stock of this and ensure that we go forward. All I want to do is to ensure that there is a smooth operating of this particular one. Then coming on to the areas of now, when if you have 35 vessels that don't come in, that means we are depriving exports, the raw material for the export. Now remember, I said that we need to export ourselves out of the bankruptcy that we there. That means the debts have to be paid through exports. Remember, 1 rupee devaluation in the country has an impact of 56 billion. So every rupee that devalues, හැම රුපියලක් අවප්‍රමාණය වීම වෙන්නේ මේ රටට බිලියන් 56කට කෝටි 5600ක වියදමක් යනවා ට්‍රෙෂරි එකට. හරි අපේ වියදමට. ඒ වගේම 100ට එකක මේ පොලි අනුපාතයක් වැඩිවීම කියන්නේ බිලියන් 160ක්. නැත්නම් කෝටි 1600ක් මේ රටේ වියදම වැඩි වෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි තරංකාරී තත්ත්වයක් ඇති කරන්න මේක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කටයුතු කරන්න අවශ්‍යයි. මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි යනකොට මේක ඉදිරිපත් කළ තියෙනවා strategic development project. Now these are, I am of a great believer that strategic development incentives must be carried out. Even though many things have been told in the past, now there are change of administrations, but if you don't incentivize the manufacturer, who is the investor that would come into this country. I mean, that's why I believe that this is the time the government must take a call. IMF can say one thing, but ensure that the government on strategic development projects, that you ensure, if it's job creation, if it brings in foreign exchange, if it helps to ensure that there is an economy of the country keeps turning, then ensure that we give those benefits. After all, IMF can say, but the government must have their way. That is the approach that we need to take the strategic development project. I'm happy that we saw that. Just 2 minutes, Presiding Member. I will basically ensure that we discussing at the Committee of Public Finance on the Erawood project that is there. I'm happy that the BOI also has changed their stand, because what they're doing now is a complete reversal of what they did before. But I think that is the way, the step in the correct direction. If you had the chairman of BOI then, Mr. Dhammika Perera, you had companies being approved in one day. You had decisions being taken. That's the need we have got to do. I know Dinesh Virakuri tried to do the same, but the resistance that came. So I think we need to get this moving. We should not only look at the IRR, but the economic return, rate of return that is there, cost-benefit analysis, the economic return that is necessary for the development of this country in the proper way. So I thank you for ensuring that we give, but all I could basically say that we need to export, if not we'll perish. And that's the way that we have got to come out of the debt crisis that is there. Management, financial discipline is necessary, but the government will to take that decision is also absolutely essential. Thank you.
Garu Kandasamy Prabhu Mantrituma, ඔබතුමාට විනාඩි 9ක් කාලයක් ලැබෙනවා.